Hello everyone, welcome to Ben Gaming, and we're going to talk about Clash Royale cards that need help. Clash Royale has 121 cards, but how many of them are worthless? Well, today, we're going to find out. Some of the weak cards are the Golem, the Clone, the Fisherman, the Elixir Collector, the Cannon card, the Elixir Golem, Electro Giant, the Heal Spirit, the Graveyard, the Goblin Demolisher, the Expo, the Barbarian Hut, the Giant, the Rune Giant, the Battle Healer, the Ice Golem, the Ice Spirit, the Three Musketeers, the Flying Machine, the Bomb Tower, the Skeleton Dragons, Tombstone, Goblin Cage Cannoneer, which is a tower troop, the Tornado, the Baby Dragon, the Void, the Mirror, the Goblin Curse, the Rage, Royal Delivery, Rascal's Hunter, Zappies, and Barbarian Barrel, the Lightning, Giant Snowball, Rocket, Mortar, Mega Minion, Goblin Cage. Clash Royale has 121 cards right now. That's 35% of the cards that have no point of even being in the game. For the Golem, it has a very high elixir cost, but yeah, he does have high health, and when you destroy him, he splits into two small golems, but he honestly doesn't have a purpose right now. He used to be used more, he used to be really annoying, but now you can just put down, let's say, Mini P.E.K.K.A, Skeleton Army. There's a lot that can just knock him out. Clone isn't that great because, I mean, you can clone a P.E.K.K.A for 3 elixir, but the clone P.E.K.K.A only has 1 HP, 1 health, 1 heart. Okay, that's not great. I mean, I don't see anybody using it in normal battles. Now, for 7x elixir battles, it has more of a purpose. But in normal 1v1 battles, there's not much point of using it. The Fisherman, um, he can pull himself towards enemies, but he hits the enemy with a fish. A fish. I don't see anybody using him because he doesn't deal much damage. The Elixir Collector is actually a waste of elixir because all someone has to do is throw arrows, fireball, rocket, lightning, anything like that, and it's done. It's toast. And it doesn't give you that much of a boost of elixir. The cannon cart, there's something about it that just doesn't seem useful enough to use. Elixir Golem used to be really, really bad, but it's not as bad now. The Elixir Golem used to be a lot worse. It's 3 elixir, you can put down the Golem, but it has 3 different phases. It has its first phase, which is its big self. Then its second phase, when you destroy it, it turns into 2 smaller golems. And when you destroy those 2 smaller golems, they split into um 2 like small elixir blobs. But every time you do that, you get 0.5 elixir. It used to be 1 elixir. That was really bad. But now it's 0.5 elixir. That's what makes the card really bad because you're pretty much just giving elixir to the other player. Electro Giant used to be really deadly. They nerfed it massively. Because what people used to do, they'd use Electro Giant Rage combo. They would just plow through with the Electro Giant, hit the tower, put down the Rage spell, and just wipe out the tower. It was really frustrating, so they nerfed it. The Heal Spirit is really worthless. It barely heals your troops. The Goblin Demolisher. I see absolutely nobody using this card. This has to be the lowest used card in the entire game because I see nobody using it. I mean, it's just not good. Expo is it costs a lot of elixir to place down, but if someone can put down Hog Rider, Skeleton Army, they have a large period of time where they could put something down and wipe out the Expo, so it's a huge waste of elixir. The Barbarian Hut is also really high on the list of worthless cards. Because sure, you can put down it spawns barbarians, but barbarians are already worthless. I mean, if used correctly, they can have some point in the game, but people would probably only use them because of the evolution. But yeah, Barbarian Hut isn't that great. The Giant and the Rune Giant both have similar problems. They're supposed to be giants and have high health, but they don't. People just put down P.E.K.K.A.s or Mega Knight. Those are like the two top tanks. The battle healer doesn't really heal and doesn't really deal that much damage. Now, I did figure out it is very hard to use effectively, but if you're going against someone who's using the Dagger Duchess, if you can get the Dagger Duchess's daggers all the way down to when she's throwing them very slowly, you can use the battle healer to almost have unlimited attacks. So because she's throwing so slow, the healer can attack enough times to heal up the damage. Now that only worked only a couple times. It was too hard to really use effectively. The Ice Golem and the Ice Spirit, they don't freeze a ton and they're just kind of just sit there. The Three Musketeers is also the most expensive card. You can put down you can spend 9 elixir to have it destroyed by 4 elixir. It doesn't even do a ton of damage even. That is one of the worst spends of all time. I remember the first time I got it. That was actually like 2 years ago. I only used it once or twice. I think it was like 2 times, and I'm like, this is the worst card ever invented in the game. And I was probably right. The Flying Machine, I mean, you might as well just use a Mega Minion, which the Mega Minion isn't that good, but it's better than the Flying Machine. Bomb Tower, I mean, it does splash damage. Its only use is really for taking on skeleton armies. So, pretty worthless there. Skeleton dragons have really low health. Sure, you can get 2 dragons, but they have low health and low damage. So, the tombstone, sure, you can spawn skeletons, but most troops can just knock out the skeletons before they can really hit anything. The goblin cage, not much of point using it. Cannoneer, which is a tower troop. That was the very first tower troop that was released, but it was also one of the worst ones released. I don't see anybody using it. People are mostly just going back and using the regular archers or the princess towers. Um, I see people occasionally using like Dagger Duchess, but I also don't see anybody using the chef, the royal chef. I don't see anybody using him. I mean, he's okay in my opinion, but I don't see anybody using him. But he's not bad enough to be put on the worthless cards list because he does have purpose, but no one really uses him. The tornado, I don't see anybody use that because it doesn't really pull any enemies away. I mean, I've tried using it, but it's not very effective by itself. What you would pretty much have to do is use the tornado to get a ton of troops in the center of the tornado and throw a fireball on it. So that's like it's like 7 elixir in total that you're using to maybe not do that much damage. You'd be better off using the firecracker, which the Firecracker I think is the most used card and the most deadliest card in the entire game, I think. Um, so then there's the Baby Dragon. He's kind of in the middle of this. I mean, he's there in the game. I mean, I see people occasionally using him, but he doesn't do too much. Boyd was, it was interesting when it was released. I saw a ton of people using it the day it was released, and then it just kind of faded away. Um, Mir isn't that great because sure, you want to put down 2 firecrackers at once, but it's going to cost you 7 elixir just to put down those firecrackers. When you could put a firecracker down, wait a little bit longer, and let's say put a ram rider down, and that's a deadly charge combo. Do you really want to have 2 firecrackers that could be wiped out with some arrows? But anyway, then there's the Goblin Curse. That doesn't deal a ton of damage. It wasn't really intended for it to be a damage dealer. It's just to turn troops into goblins. My opinion, that's also really bad because the chance of you turning them into goblins is pretty low because the duration of the spell doesn't last too long. The rage The rage is really hard to use, so that's kind of why it's worthless. I don't really see anybody using this because sure, it can boost your damage, but the, it gets kind of tricky to put in your deck to make it actually work. The Royal Delivery like puts down a Royal Recruit. Well, it drops like this box from into the arena and then deals some splash damage, then drops a Royal Recruit, and that's it. Royal Recruits aren't that great. Also, the Royal Recruit card, also, I forgot to put that on the list, is also very worthless. I don't see anybody using it. They did have evolution added, but even then, they're still not great. Rascals are also really high on the list of being worthless. They really need to do something with them. There's the Hunter that doesn't do too much damage. The Zappies, they're kind of good with stopping like yeah, I can't even come up with. They're not. I mean, sure they can stun enemy troops, but even then, they don't have a ton of point. Then there's the Barbarian Barrel, which all you do is put it down, a barrel rolls, and poof, there's a Barbarian. Pretty worthless. Sure, you can take out skeletons, but that's about it. Lightning is just a waste of elixir. Sure, it can do massive damage, but with what most people use, it's not going to be very effective. You'd be better off trying to get a P.E.K.K.A. or a Mega Knight down instead of just using lightning. Then there's the giant snowball that doesn't work very well. It doesn't do a ton of damage. I mean, it can push enemies away, but they're just going to come right back to you. It's not going to give you much time. You'd be better off saving that 2 elixir. The rocket can do massive damage, but is also not that effective. Once again, against let's say P.E.K.K.A, Mega Knight, stuff like that, you'd be better off using a fireball. Then the mortar, also is a similar case with Expo. Sure, it has a cheaper elixir cost, but still not super effective. The Mega Minion is also not that great. The Goblin Cage is not that great. So, as I said, Clash Royale has 121 cards right now, and that's 35% of the cards that have no point of even being in the game. So that's a huge problem. What could Supercell do to fix it? well, most likely they would just throw an evolution on it and just leave it alone, like they did with several of them. But the better thing to do is change the cards altogether, like they did with the Furnace. The Furnace would be on the worthless card list right now, but since they remodeled it and gave it an evolution, it is now a very good card. I use it in almost every single deck that I have now. It's that good. So some changes could be like the Rascals would actually deal damage and slow enemies down with their gum. The Goblin Curse deals just a little bit more damage. I understand it's not meant to be a damage dealer. The Tombstone would summon more skeletons. The Heal Spirit would actually heal. The Rune Giant would get more health. The Battle Healer would heal more. Elixir Golem does not give the enemy as much elixir when destroyed. Now, this would be a tricky one to do because, yes, they did bring it down on how much elixir that it gives you when destroyed. And like it's 0.5 right now, but what if they brought that down to, let's say, 0.2, so it's not as much? Then it would probably be worth using again. So those are just a couple of my ideas. What do you think? Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.